They said the world's most wanted man was dead. But there were no photos, no body, only a story that unraveled the closer you looked. Tonight, we reopen the files to ask one forbidden question. Did America really kill Osama bin Laden? Or just a convenient double? The official story is familiar. SEAL Team 6 raids a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Bin Laden resists capture. He's shot and killed. His body is flown to a U.S. aircraft carrier and buried at sea, all within hours. But from the start, something felt off. No photos of the body, no DNA tests released to the public, and the one man who could verify it, buried in the ocean before anyone could even ask why. At first, the world celebrated. Crowds cheered in Times Square. Flags waved. America had finally avenged 9/11. But beneath the noise, intelligence officers, even those close to the case, whispered a quiet question. Are we sure it was him? Here's where things start to break down. For nearly a decade, bin Laden had been the phantom enemy. He'd released audio tapes, grainy videos, but experts began to notice something strange around 2009. In the newer recordings, Osama's beard was darker, his facial structure slightly off, his speech patterns different. CIA analysts suggested he'd dyed his hair. Maybe the lighting changed, but others weren't convinced. One retired intelligence officer, speaking under anonymity, said, "We compared his facial biometrics from older footage to the new ones, and the match wasn't clean. We were told to ignore it." Then, in 2011, when U.S. troops stormed the Abbottabad compound, they found a man with bin Laden's height, build, and a few key scars, but his facial features? Blurred by gunfire. According to reports, even the SEALs themselves were unsure. They took photos, samples, but within 24 hours, those photos were sealed, and within 72, the body was gone. At first, SEAL Team 6 was celebrated as heroes. But not long after, something even more chilling began to happen. Members of the team started dying. In August 2011, just 3 months after the raid, a helicopter was shot down in Afghanistan, killing 38 people, including 15 members of SEAL Team 6 involved in Operation Neptune Spear. It was the deadliest day in U.S. Special Operations history. The official explanation? An unfortunate ambush. But families of the fallen SEALs didn't buy it. They said the mission details didn't add up. They said the helicopter wasn't even meant to be flying that route. And some claimed their sons had told them, in private, that something wasn't right about the raid. One father recalled his son saying, "Dad, we didn't kill Osama. It wasn't him." Days later, his son was gone. Coincidence? Maybe. But to those who've followed covert operations long enough, coincidences are just patterns waiting for confirmation. Pause for a second. What's your take? Was the raid real or was it theater? Drop a comment, and let's see what theory dominates this thread. Abbottabad, a small, quiet military town in Pakistan. And that's the problem, because Osama bin Laden wasn't hiding in some remote cave in the mountains. He was living just a few hundred meters from Pakistan's elite military academy, the equivalent of West Point. How could the most wanted man in the world live right under the nose of one of America's closest and most surveilled allies without being noticed? Former Pakistani intelligence officers claim they did know, but not in the way we think. A leaked memo from 2012, later cited by journalist Seymour Hersh, claimed that the Pakistani ISI had been holding bin Laden under house arrest since 2006. He wasn't hiding, he was being contained. And when the US discovered his location, a deal was made. The story goes that Pakistan handed him over quietly, but not the real bin Laden. Instead, a double, a stand-in, a man whose resemblance was close enough to sell the story, long enough to buy global relief and political capital for the Obama administration. Because let's face it, bin Laden's death came at a perfect time. Re-election was near, approval ratings were dipping, and nothing rallies a nation like vengeance delivered. What do we have left of that night? No photos, no video proof, no public DNA results. Only the word of government officials, and a few grainy shots of the compound, reduced to rubble days later. The excuse? Graphic content. national security. But that's strange, isn't it? America has shown worse. Saddam Hussein's execution was broadcast worldwide. Muammar Gaddafi's brutal death went viral. But for the world's most hated terrorist, nothing. Even the supposed DNA confirmation, a 99.9% match, was announced just hours after the raid. Experts argue that kind of test takes days, not hours. Unless, of course, the DNA was matched against a pre-selected sample, one already known to fit the narrative. And then there's the burial. Buried at sea, they said, in accordance with Islamic tradition. But Islamic scholars quickly disagreed. A sea burial isn't typical. In fact, it's only permissible if land burial isn't possible. And yet, Osama's alleged body was in U.S. custody. So why the rush? Why the secrecy? Then came Seymour Hersh, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist with a reputation for uncovering military secrets. In 2015, he published an explosive exposé claiming that almost everything about the Bin Laden raid was fabricated. According to his sources, Bin Laden had indeed been held captive by Pakistan, not hiding. And when U.S. intelligence learned this, they cut a deal. In exchange for billions in aid, Pakistan would allow a staged raid to give America the appearance of victory. The SEALs weren't storming a terrorist hideout, they were executing a controlled handover. But something went wrong. Shots were fired. The double was killed. And then came the scramble to rewrite the story before it unraveled. The White House's live Situation Room photo? Hersh says they weren't even watching the raid in real time, only a delayed or fabricated feed. And the photo of Obama and his team staring intensely at a monitor? Stagecraft, not surveillance. Why fake it? 3 reasons stand out. Political power. Bin Laden's death was the ultimate trophy. It secured Obama's legacy, silenced critics, and restored faith in U.S. intelligence. Closure. After a decade of fear, the public needed an ending. The myth of Bin Laden couldn't just fade, it had to be killed. Control. By controlling the narrative, the U.S. could close a chapter of its war on terror, even if the real book was still being written. Who, then, was the man killed in Abbottabad? Some say he was one of Bin Laden's body doubles, a long-rumored tactic used by the terrorist leader to avoid capture. Others claim he was a low-level courier, surgically altered to resemble him. And a fringe but fascinating theory suggests that Bin Laden himself had died years earlier, from kidney failure or drone strikes, and the 2011 raid was merely a performance to provide closure. Intelligence chatter from as early as 2006 hinted that UBL, as he was codenamed, was already dead. CIA documents mentioned a terminally ill target. Yet new videos kept surfacing. Voice experts noticed small inconsistencies in tone and diction, almost like someone mimicking him. Could those recordings have been made by doubles all along? In the years since, the trail has grown cold. The compound where it all happened was demolished. Every physical trace erased. Pakistani officials who questioned the U.S. version quietly disappeared or were reassigned. Even members of the SEAL team who survived silent, bound by NDAs or worse, fear. And yet, the unease persists, because in the shadows of geopolitics, truth is often sacrificed for stability. We may never see the classified documents, the DNA tests, or the missing photos, but the inconsistencies remain, haunting, unresolvable, and deeply human. If you've made it this far, you already think deeper than most. Hit the like button so more people see what they're not supposed to. And here's where it gets truly unsettling. In 2020, whispers began circulating online, strange videos appearing on obscure forums. A man, veiled, aged, his voice distorted but eerily familiar. He spoke in riddles of betrayal, captivity, and false death. Some dismissed it as a hoax. Others, including ex-intelligence contractors, said the linguistic patterns matched Bin Laden's speech almost perfectly. A reemergence? Impossible, perhaps. But then again, so was the idea that the world's most wanted man lived comfortably in a suburban neighborhood for 6 years. Maybe the wrong man was killed that night. Maybe the real Bin Laden died years before. Or maybe he's still alive, living under another name, another identity, somewhere beyond the reach of history, while the rest of us still celebrate the illusion of his death. Because in the world of secrets, the most effective lie is the one you want to believe. If you think you know the real story of Bin Laden's death, think again. What do you believe, was justice served or was it staged? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for the next deep dive into the secrets they don't want you to uncover.